asuras. But this was the golden age of the asuras, I guess. Because just before even Prahlad Maharaj came, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, who used to be Jaya and Vijaya, right, the doorkeepers of the Supreme Lord, they were ruling, and they were under their reign. The asuras ruled the entire universe. And then Prahlad Maharaj was born, and he was such a wonderful devotee. We always exemplify the devotional mood of Prahlad Maharaj, and his grandson was Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj saw this opportunity, and at the same time there was another interesting parallel thing happening. See, Bali Maharaj, being a devotee at heart, he was actually very respectful to the Brahmanas and his spiritual master. And he would take every opportunity to serve them, to give them charity, to be helpful to them. And just because it is said in the Bhagavatam that because of his service to Sukracharya, he became very, very opulent and very powerful. To the extent that when he realized that, when he came to know that Indra had offended Brihaspati, he said, oh, this is the right time to attack Indra. And entire fleet of the Asuras attacked the demigods. And the demigods, they knew the mistake of Indra, and they knew that they were in a very disadvantaged position. They did not even offer a fight. They actually literally they said this is way too powerful an enemy. Right? There's no point in fighting a battle at this time, and they just all ran away. So that was the extent of the power of Vamana Deva. At that time, what happened? Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj was placed on the throne of Indra, and he ruled the entire all three planetary systems, from heavenly planetary systems to Earth, the middle planetary systems to lower planetary systems. It's so funny. The Asuras and Suras are practically step brothers, right? Because the Suras come from whom? Who's the mother of the Suras? Diti. Aditi is the Asuras' mother, and both of them are sisters, and both are married to Kashyapa. So they're actually like the step brothers. So Aditi was morose that Bali Maharaj had usurped the rightful throne of Indra, right? And so when she was expressing moroseness, Kashyapa asked her, okay, why are you morose? She said, this is the thing, and I want to make sure my son Indra comes back as the king of the heavenly planets. So then Kashyapa told her to perform a particular sacrifice to invoke the blessings of Vishnu. And she very meticulously performed that vrata. So it is, as you can see from the Shastras, women were doing yagnas, they were doing vratas, they were as much involved in spiritual activities as men. This notion that the Vedic civilization gave a lower position to women was actually just a mental concoction of people. Women had equal rights and had equal opportunity to achieve spiritual perfection. So here Aditi performed very austere vrata, and the result of the vrata was that Lord Vishnu appeared. He basically appeared and he said, like, I know what you want. He didn't ask her, like, what do you want? He said, I know what you want. Because as Paramatma in the heart, he knows what Aditi wanted. And he said, I'll fulfill your wish. I will be born to you as Vamana Deva, and then your wishes will be fulfilled. And she was very happy. And at that time, Lord Vamana Deva was born. So it's very interesting to see how the Supreme Lord solves different problems also, right? Well, if all she wanted was to establish Indra on the throne, there are many ways Krishna can achieve that, right? Can somebody suggest a way Krishna can achieve that? Any ideas? Huh? You can send Sudarshan Chakra, just stand there and send Sudarshan Chakra and finish, matters closed, right? In a few seconds it is closed. There isn't any opponent to Vishnu in that sense. So, but he chose a little, tricky way of achieving, what Aditi wanted. Because Aditi didn't say, I want you to be born as my son, and then as my son you go and do this and do that. She didn't ask anything. She didn't even ask anything from Vishnu. Vishnu said, I know what you want, and I will fulfill your desire. See, Lord is very, all of this is, you should remember, these are all leelas for the Supreme Lord. He is trying to, enamor and attract his devotees to come to the spiritual world, where every day Krishna is engaged with, funny activities like this. Right? He's trying to give us that glimpse of the beauty of being in the spiritual world and being in a Nitya Utsava. So here, he specifically took the form of a dwarf Brahmana, right? A small child. And why did he take the form of a small child? Right? You think about it, when children are really small, like a toddler kind of an age, a little bit older maybe, at that time, they're still so sweet, they talk with sweet words, right? And so they're very attractive and they're very charming, right? Very easily, anything they ask, people ask, hey, what do you want? And everybody is willing to give them anything they want. And that was what Vamana Deva wanted to do. He wanted to have this very charming, very beautiful, charming form. It is said in the Shastras that when Vishnu gave the benediction, very quickly Vamana Deva was born. It is said in the Shastras that in the heavenly planets, for the demigods, their pregnancy is like literally a day, right? It's not like the 9 months of pretty intense and hard pregnancy that women in this planetary system, in our loka experience. So very quickly he was born, and very quickly he became, the form of Vamana Deva. At that time, they performed the sacred thread ceremony for Vamana Deva. And then all the rishis, all the demigods, Lord Brahma, everybody came down and gave different gifts to Vamana Deva. Right? So when you think of Vamana Deva, what does it typically carry? For Kamandala, then umbrella, and then Kamandala, umbrella, and what else? Huh? Okay. He carries the danda. You know that the T-shaped danda. And then, yeah, arms, he carries that. Actually, the commander, I've never seen him with an arm. So he's a kamandala. Yeah. So, kamandala, umbrella, for if there's intense heat like we're going through right now. Right? You need an umbrella to protect yourself, give you some shade. And the kamandala was where you could get water and use for achaman and things like that. And the stick, I think the rest the hand on it. So all of these were actually gifts by the different demigods, right? And he had a very charming appearance. And now he said, I'm going to go to Bali Maharaj and fulfill your desire. See, Bali Maharaj was a he was a great devotee. At the same time, he was very intelligent as well. Right? The Shastras it is said, Samasate Suraha, all the qualities of the Suras automatically manifest in a devotee. Right? You don't have to go and ask for siddhis or struggle for them or do this and do that. As you become more and more purer in your devotional practices, these qualities automatically manifest in a devotee. And so he was very intelligent, and he knew that he had forcefully occupied the position of Indra. Right? So, sometimes, when we hear all these things, people think that, Indra is a person. I mean, Indra is a person, but the word Indra does not refer to a person, it refers to a post. Right? For example, we say Prime Minister of India, that is a post. There is a person called Narendra Modi who is occupying the post right now. Right? So you can call him Prime Minister, yes, Prime Minister Ji. Right? But there are other people who are called Prime Minister Ji as well. Right? And right now it happens to be this. So similarly, Indra is a position. It is not a person. And so that position is, who gets the position of Indra? What is the qualification? 1,000, huh? See, I also don't remember the number. It's you have to do a lot of punya. And one of the ways of doing punya is doing Ashwamedha Yajnas and other things. Right? See, for all practical purposes, is one of the most person with the most good karma in the planetary systems. Obviously, people up in the Brahmaloka are more exalted than Indra. But they are not interested also in taking care of their worldly affairs and all that. But those who are interested in taking care of worldly affairs and who are looking for name, fame, power, opulence and all that, that would be Indra's position. That is only occupied by performing all these austerities. And Bali Maharaj realized that he had forcefully occupied that position, seizing upon a very weak moment for Indra, right? Because he had offended Brahaspati and he was diminished in his prowess. And so in order to maintain that position, he used to be extra careful in serving the Brahmanas, performing yajnas, and Shukracharya was guiding him how to maintain that position. So in order to maintain that position, he was performing a yajna once on the bank of the river Narmada. There's a place there on the bank where he was performing, and Vamana Deva set out to go to that performance yajna place. It is said that when Vamana Deva entered the sacrificial arena, there were multiple things happening. One, he was a very charming boy, effulgent and charming, and so pleasing and attractive that, everybody just like were mesmerized when he entered the arena. Then they almost with their mouths open, they were looking at him coming in. And everybody just stopped what they were doing. The yajnas and all the, great rishis and everybody got up and offered obeisances to him. Because he's a small boy. But they were so attracted by his beauty that they all surrendered unto him and they sort of offered obeisances to him. And so, Prabhupada says in that discussion that, we should be like, our good fortune is being attracted by Krishna like that. Right? Krishna is so beautiful, so attractive. We should drop all the material things we're doing and get attracted to him. And that is the fulfillment of our lives. Right? So Vamana Deva came in that very charming form. And at that point, Bali Maharaj was also so attracted by him and said, "Oh Brahmana, please ask what you want." And he is like, just because he's a small child, maybe he doesn't know what to ask, so he gave him a list of things he can give him. Right? I can give you this much wealth, I can give you cows, I can give you kingdoms, I can also get you a beautiful Brahmana daughter to be married to you. Like, what do you want? And everything. And Vamana Deva, continuing his, he's acting as a small child, right? He asks for a very childish thing, right? He says, what does he say? What does he say? 3 steps, right? He says, I want land that I can measure with my 3 steps, right? He was very clever. He was saying, I want land that I can measure with my 3 steps. I mean, if he just said, I want 3 steps, it'll be a little, right? And so think about it, how much land can you measure with 3 steps, right? A few feet? So he's like, how many feet? Like 6 feet? Right? If you jumped a little, like maybe 6 feet, 7 feet. And so that is the, amount of land. And so it's like going to, a big merchant and saying, oh, please give me 3 grains of rice. Right? A huge go down of rice. Like, at this time, actually Bali Maharaj tells him, oh Vamana, you are a small child. I am the ruler of the entire universe. No, you should ask for things that is, he uses these words. He says, does anybody know what he says? He says, you should ask for something, once you get it, you shouldn't have any need in your life. You shouldn't have any desires left in your life. So ask for something after which you don't have any desires in this world. Like, who can fulfill a desire like that? What do you guys think? Is there anybody who can give you something after you get? You don't want anything else in life. Huh? Not in the material universe. Why? See, our children have learnt, hopefully they will practice it in their lives when they grow up as well. Right? Once you have, there is nothing, like in this material world, how much ever you have, the more need you have. Right? So, there was once, a devotee said this, it was very nice to hear. See, we should not desire what we need, we should need what we have. Right? We should not desire what we need, but we should need what we have. If you say that, I need what I already have, then you are Atma Rama. Right? You are satisfied in what. Somebody comes and says, do you want something? Can I give you something? So, no, I only need what I already have. See, that is the secret or beauty of being a devotee's life. Sometimes, we take it for granted, these kind of things. These are all very important lessons in life we should remember. There is no limit or end to our desires. If we continue to satisfy them or, try to go after them, there is no limit to, what you would want to need if you let your mind go astray. So, you should only need what you already have, and then you'll see that, every small thing or big thing in life gives you happiness. Actually speaking, in a devotee's life, everything happens for the good. Nothing that happens in your life is for the bad. Right? If you're always living in a life thinking that Krishna is in control of my life, right? My karmanyeva adhikaraste mahafileshu kadachana. My duty is to perform, my obligations, my duty, and I'm not going to worry about whatever result Krishna gives. If you truly live that life, you will see that everything, something good, something bad, something reversal, some, greatest happiness, greatest dislike, whatever looks like materially to be happiness or distress, or something that's pleasing, not pleasing, everything will be ultimately for your good. It needs a lot of realization and maturity to come to that stage. But when you really do come to that stage, you will experience unlimited happiness. So, in this situation, Vamana Deva actually laughed when Bali Maharaj said that, because he knew that he was the only person who could actually give that benediction. And so, he preaches to him and says, you should know that nothing in this world can give you happiness and all that. He actually preaches to him a little bit. And he says, no, I don't want anything that you want to give. None of that is going to give me happiness. Just give me my, small 3 steps of land. Right? At this point, he's such a charming person. Bali Maharaj says, yes, please take it. Right? Because there was a very short, he says that, still give me 3 pieces of land. And Shukracharya was like waiting to stop him. And within that second, Bali Maharaj said, take it. Immediately Shukracharya says, oh no, what have you done? You know who this is? This is Vishnu in the disguise of a small Brahmana boy. It's okay, you did a mistake, but it's really not a bad mistake, because, there are 4 situations under which you can break your promise. And this is one of the situations like this, and you should break your promise, you don't have to fulfill this. Right? And he says, when somebody is trying to deceive you, when you're doing it for the good of others, I don't even remember the other 2 reasons. Huh? Emergency situation, huh? Life is under risk. Anyway, he gave some 4 reasons why you can break your promise. In fact, it is said in the Shastras that if you give a promise, you just stick to it, irrespective of whether it is good for you, bad for you, because everything is for your good. Whatever is happening in your life, you should always take it. It is always for your good. And nothing bad happens to devotee's life. That's the mood with which you think. But here, Shukracharya was, giving him, his spiritual master is giving him wrong advice. What should Bali Maharaj do? Right? See, in the Shastras, it's very clearly given always, when you're given instructions, 3 corroborations have to be there in order to accept that instruction. Right? Any instruction given to you by anybody, 3 authentication or corroboration needs to happen. What are they? Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Right? Your Guru should say that you should be doing it. And Guru also means somebody who is authorized by the Guru to give you instructions. Right? And so anybody in that authority structure, so Guru. Just because somebody in authority is saying something, if it is against Shastras, right, you shouldn't do it. And see, before you go to Shastras, because it's not easy for everybody to understand the Shastras. It is very difficult. Interpretations are involved. It's complicated. So first you should go to Sadhu. Right? Oh, this was said. What do other sadhus say about this? And then what do Shastras say about this? And so Bali Maharaj contemplated for a second and he said, if the Lord, Supreme Lord Vishnu is coming and asking me, why would I say no? Right? Anything that the Supreme Lord does is for the ultimate benefit of all living entities. And so he said, I'm sorry, but I'm rejecting you. I'm going to stick to my promise because that is the ultimate benefit of worshipping the Supreme Lord and fulfilling His request is the ultimate thing that I can help with. And so at this point, Lord Vamana Deva, he starts expanding himself. Right? We all know this story. Right? With one step, he covers the entire earthly planetary systems and all the lower planetary systems. Right? And in the next feet, he covers all the upper planetary systems, all the way up to Brahmaloka. It is said that at that point, the denizens of Brahmaloka saw this gigantic feat and they all lived in the Supreme Lord and they were all offering obeisances to him. And so when he was doing this, very interesting thing happens. Right? What happens? Huh? The universal covering. See, if you think about, the Shastra is pretty scientific about these things, So the universe, each universe, like so gigantic, each universe is covered. What is this? What is the first covering of the universe? Huh? There are layers of all the 5 Panchabhutas. First covering is earth. And then there's the next covering of, every covering is like twice, 10 times bigger than the previous covering. It's like that there is a massive covering of this. So when he expanded, the toenail of Vamana Deva pierced the universal covering. And so, because all these universes are floating in the Karanodaka ocean, right? And these coverings are sort of shielding the universe. And so it pierced the coverings and the Karanodaka, the ocean waters entered into the universe. And because they were entering with such gigantic force, Lord Shiva was called upon to break the force of the water. And that's why first the Ganges water that washed the toenail of Vamana Deva first goes on, falls on Lord Shiva's head, who controls the current of it, and then it starts flowing down in all the 3 planetary systems, including the earthly planetary system. And then at this time, they said, listen, what about my 3rd step? Right? And at this time, all the asuras, they got perturbed. Oh, this Brahmana boy tricked our master. And he is like, by trickery, they are trying to take away all his kingdom. So let us attack. And wow, Bali Maharaj tried to prevent them. They said, no, stop it. What are you doing? It's the Supreme Lord himself. Why do you want to attack the Supreme Lord? Right? But the asuras are asuras, right? They cannot give up their mentality and they try to attack. But then, the associates of the Lord all came and defeated them. And then the Supreme Lord said, all of you are banished to go to Sutala. When you hear about Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala and all that, it is one of the low planetary systems, Sutala. And you need to go over there. And then the Garuda, he arrests Bali Maharaj because, he's a criminal now, right? He has not fulfilled his promise. And so he gets arrested by the ropes of Varuna. I think usually that is the picture. I don't know if you have a picture today. It's a different picture, not that picture. Yeah, there's a picture of the Varuna's snake binding, Bali Maharaj. So very interesting conversation happens. Bali Maharaj's wife. Who is Bali Maharaj's wife? Anybody knows? Vindhyavali is the Shastras say, and Prahlad Maharaj, both appear there, and they are all praising the Supreme Lord, praising the wonderful leelas and activities of them. But they also say, please forgive Vamana Deva and please forgive Bali Maharaj and release him. So Vamana Deva, when he puts his leg on the head of Bali Maharaj, he presses him down into Sutala. But then he says, this Sutala planet will become more opulent and wonderful than Indraloka. Right? Not only that, he agrees to become his doorkeeper. Right? The Supreme Lord agrees to become the doorkeeper to the Sutala planets of Bali Maharaj. And he says that his Sudarshan Chakra will protect him. Right? Just see the pastimes of the Lord. See, Aditi wanted to establish the Suras back in Indra's kingdom. And the Supreme Lord comes and in the form of punishing Bali Maharaj, he gives him more opulence and more this thing than Indra has. See, that is why I said always in the Shastras, everything happens for the good. When you are engaged unconditionally in the service of the Supreme Lord, you should know that our actions, the results of our actions, whatever we are experiencing, it is always for our good. And we should have firm conviction in this. It might look like very insurmountable, very negative things happening, but they are actually always meant to, for the good of the living entity, for the ultimate benefit of the living entity. Okay? So, this is the beautiful pastimes of Vamana Deva. After that, both Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, offer great prayers to Vamana Deva and please him. And that concludes the pastime of Vamana Deva. This is very helpful for us to understand that there are multiple factors and multiple lessons to be learned. One is that the pastimes of the Lord has very, sort of mischievous, charming ways in which he achieves different things in this world. It is important also to understand that everything that happens to devotee's life is always for the good, and that we should take every opportunity to surrender and serve the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master and his mission. If we have that unwavering faith and determination, everything we experience in life will be blissful. Okay? we're up for time. We'll stop here. Anybody has any quick question or comments? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Why couldn't Krishna have solved the problem in the Kurukshetra war in a peaceful way, right? Like he did with as Vamana Deva. Again, the Lord has his own charming ways of doing things. But if you think about sort of the reasons why the Kurukshetra war had to happen, right? In the Shastras it is explained how that at that time there were too many kings who were a burden on the earth. Right? There were, I think, there is many crores of people were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. So once, Kshatriyas, they are supposed to be Raja Rishis. Right? They are supposed to be Rajas, but they should be internally, at heart, they should be living the life of a Rishi, they should be acting like a Rishi, and they should be thinking like that. But when, Kshatriyas get puffed up with their wealth and opulence, because just imagine, how much of, wealth and opulence is given to a Kshatriya, the supreme controllers. That is why in the Vedic system, and I think I mentioned this in the past, the Kshatriyas had control over strength, the Brahmanas had control over knowledge, and the Vaishyas had control over wealth. The three of these things are not meant to be in one person. But when a Kshatriya becomes puffed up and becomes doesn't follow the Shastras, what does he do? He has got the power with which he can easily subdue and capture all the wealth, and then he stops listening to the Brahmanas. And he says that, I am king now, whatever I say is rule. Right? That's what happens, if you see the history, recent history also. Why does monarchy fail? Even recently and in Europe and every place, where the kings became, debauchees and, wasting the wealth of the kingdom in all kinds of crazy sense gratification. Right? When they become irresponsible like that, they are no longer Rajarishi, they become burden on the earth. And so that's why Krishna wanted to rid the burden of Mother Earth, and that's why he devised the Kurukshetra war. Right? What did he tell Arjuna? He told him, whether you fight or not, these people are already dead. Now, it is your good fortune if you become an instrument in my hands and fight and kill them. Otherwise, they are already dead. That is the reason, Krishna in Kurukshetra did not want a peaceful settlement. He wanted these people to be killed and reduce the burden of earth. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Vamana Deva Appearance Day ki, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.